You think your living room is yours? In Japan, it never fully was. And the gap between those two ideas isn't about taste, it's about who a room is actually designed for. You, or everyone who has to share it with you. Look around the room you're sitting in right now. Don't move anything. Just look. At least one thing in your eye line that a Japanese household would have quietly removed years ago. Stay until number 11, a study on doorways that will change the way you look at your own front hallway. Number 4 has an official term, stamped on training manuals. In a traditional Japanese room, empty isn't nothing. Empty is the loudest thing in it. Let's get into it. Before the list, one concept, because every item on it comes back to this. The Japanese word is jian, the pause that is doing work. Sen no rikyu formalized in the 16th century, a practice built entirely around subtraction. In music, silence between notes isn't the absence of the song, it's part of the song. Where most Western living rooms draw a line between furnished and unfinished, Japan draws a much more precise map. Keep that map in mind. Every habit on this list comes back to it. Quick experiment. Picture the wall you see most. Count how many photos, certificates, or framed anything are hanging on it right now. You've just found something that most Japanese households handle completely differently. The walls function like a permanent highlight reel. Wedding photos, graduation photos, the kids at every age. Inside a physical photo album, kept in a drawer or a low chest, brought out and looked through deliberately. The word for the instinct behind this is kensen, shun, humility. A diploma on your own wall says something different to a guest than a diploma the guest chooses to ask about. A photo wall you walk past 40 times a day isn't giving you 40 small doses of joy. It becomes visual furniture, present but functionally invisible. A memory you look at on purpose, occasionally, stays a memory. Ask what every chair in the room is actually pointed at. The answer is the same object every time. The television. The tokonoma, a small recessed alcove holding exactly one seasonal object. Seating in a Japanese room was arranged to face each other, or to face the open room itself. Cue salience, the brain automatically prioritizes the brightest, most dynamic object. A room built to face a screen will always lose to the screen. Look at the single most colorful, most patterned object in the room you're in. One loud object, deliberately mismatched, meant to give a room personality. Shibui eye, a kind of understated, subdued beauty. Visual pop-out. Your attention gets involuntarily grabbed by them. A loud object doesn't make a room feel alive. Count the objects on it that don't have an actual, designated home anywhere else in the house. That table has become a graveyard for decisions nobody wanted to make. Saiten, Jungdun, the second step of a 5-step workplace organization system called 5S. The way a factory worker notices an empty tool outline on a pegboard. A tiny, where does this go? Question your brain has to solve dozens of times a day. A bare Japanese low table with one item on it, a folded newspaper, precisely centered. Think about the decorative object nearest to you. When's the last time it actually changed? Kisetsu-kan, jikai-kan, seasonal sensibility. The single object placed in the tokonoma alcove, which traditionally rotates with the season. Most American living rooms decorate seasonally, maybe twice a year. A wreath at Christmas. A room that never changes isn't restful. It's just been muted by your own nervous system. The biggest open shelving unit in your living room. Open shelves. That shelf isn't storage anymore. It's just a wall of things you've stopped seeing. The Oshia, Yaruri, a deep, sliding door closet built directly into the wall. The visible room stays close to empty. It just moves behind a door. Visual clutter measurably increases cognitive load. Hidden storage isn't hiding a mess. It's giving your eyes one less room to search through. Picture the walk from your front door to your favorite seat. How many pieces of furniture do you have to angle around? The sectional got bought for maximum seating, not maximum movement. The Ngawa, Yuanchu, a narrow wooden veranda strip. The room was designed to change shape around the people in it. A couch that blocks the room isn't a seating upgrade. It's a permanent obstacle course. Is a screen on in your house right now, even if nobody's actually watching it? The television functions less like entertainment and more like ambient sound. Hisako, 98 years old, who lives alone in the same wooden house outside Kyoto, left the television running almost around the clock. For 19 years. Not to watch it, just so the house wouldn't feel as empty as it actually was. A visiting nurse made a small, almost embarrassing suggestion: turn it off at dusk. By the end of the first week, she was falling asleep faster than she had in years. The word for what she found is shizukesa, jinkesa, stillness. Count the decorative pillows on your couch right now. Kanso, Jiansu, simplicity, one of the 7 core principles of Zen aesthetics. A pillow that exists to be photographed isn't decorating your couch, it's standing between you and the couch. Find the nearest tangle of visible cables, cords, or a power strip sitting out in plain view. It's rarely mentioned in any decluttering conversation because it feels too small to matter. Mieru versus mienai, mieneru, mienenai, visible versus invisible. Cables and utility objects get built into walls rather than draped across a floor. What you leave visible in your own living room, day after day, quietly trains your brain to treat as normal. Stop here. Let that land. Thesis repeated. The photo wall, the TV throne, the loud chair, the coffee table graveyard. Conditioning. Look at the space between your front door and your actual living room seating. The genkan, and the space beyond it, is treated as a completely different category of place. Kekai, jeija, historically used around shrines and tea houses. The doorway effect. People who physically walked through a doorway were measurably more likely to forget. The physical threshold functions almost like a mental one. A boundary at your door isn't about tidiness, your brain never getting the memo at all. Find the smallest bare patch of wall in your living room. Yohaku no bi, yohaku no mai, the beauty of blank space. This space is not for sale to the next object that comes along. The photo wall, the TV throne, the loud chair, wearing 12 different outfits. An empty wall doesn't need something on it to be finished. Question 1. Is this object here because it's doing something right now? Question 2. Is this visible because it needs to be seen? Question 3. If the room could choose for itself, would it choose this? If something in your living room fails all 3, that's the first thing to move. Look around you right now. Which item are you removing first? Tonight? Share it with the one person you know who'd recognize their own coffee table in this video.